That's so exciting, and it's so amazingly attractive.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
Right, okay. If you're not already smiling, you're probably in the wrong place. It works, doesn't it? The psychology. I'm just relaxing. I haven't been working out today. Just relaxing. I do it every time when I call my girlfriend, right? I get the angle right. And sometimes she takes so long. By the time she answers the phone, I go, right, 500 points to the first scrub in the chat who knows why at 2:15 in the morning I am screaming now. Screaming! Why am I streaming now? Let's have a look at the comments. I've just asked a question. So I've missed all the ones that have gone before. You will get your hellos in. Why am I streaming now? Someone will know. Someone's sitting there going, oh, fucking hell, the keyboard's across the other side of the road. Right? Other side of the road? That'd be weird, wouldn't it? Mum, I want to watch the Jess, come on, love. You know, let's be reasonable here. Chasworth reckons it might be mental health issues. Hands. Oi, Brighton haven't lost at home for something like 31 games. Oh, the Gunners, 3-0. Clutch goals from Kai Havertz, clutch goal. Please, if you didn't see the video about Clutch, I am saying it with an amount of irony because Clutch is ridiculous. And I know now, and Joyce reckons it's the powder, the sulfate. I tell you what, if I was on speed now, I wouldn't be wasting it chatting because you'd all leave within about 2 seconds. Yeah, but the thing about Hegel, and it's not about Hegel because by the next sentence I'm talking about how to get a good cast when you've got hair rig on a carp set up. No. I would be entertaining ladies, as many as possible. Now, talking of which, I'm going to show you. Packer's going to join us. He's in the digital green room. Just say hello quickly, Packer.
Hello.
There you go. But I just want to show you a little video clip. Now, I want you to keep an open mind here, but just have a look at a bit of this. Keep an open mind because it would be easy to, respond to this in a way that culture has suggested you do. So let's have a look at this for a minute. Hang on.
Back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing sexy charades with 6 of the hottest women from the UK. So I'm going to let you introduce yourselves one by one.
Hi, I'm Bonnie. This is my Instagram app. Hi, I'm Amber. This is my Instagram app.
Hi, I'm Rebecca and this is my Instagram app. Hi, I'm Georgia. This is my Instagram.
Hi, I'm Effie. This is my Instagram. Hi, I'm Elle. This is my Instagram.
Who's my Instagram?
Right, so we've got all the information we need to now mark them out of 10, which would be ridiculous, but I don't care. Why can't I don't want the new layout. Oh, cancel. Hello. Now, look, Jess is straight in. That's what I like about the scrubs. Look, special cases, Amber's a bimbo. You actually know her name. I tell you what, I've already got mine down. So this is how we're going to look at Anglo. I'm on the other end, but woo, so exciting. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this. I'll tell you. That's it, Andy. Andy was ridiculous. Andrew, I know I've got a reply to you, but I've got about 120 in front of it. And sorry to hear about that, but it is there. I'm not ignoring it. The other week we were talking on this channel and we were talking, do you remember, Packer, we talked about in the 70s and 80s, especially one scrub famously said the 80s was one long boner. And it's in my manuscript. I use it all the time because it just was, especially if you're reaching puberty in 1982. It's just like, oh, here we go. And the thing is, female sexuality, this is up for debate, YouTube. I'm not drawing this isn't set in stone. This is my opinion that I will argue to the death. But male sexuality is essentially visual. There is other elements there, especially with an ongoing relationship. But in the first instance, you will decide based on what the utopian idealist would call superficial elements or aspects. And I don't think they are, because if you're going to bond with a partner, if you don't like the look of her, she's in trouble, because you need to fancy your missus. And we were talking about, do you remember, like in the 70s, Sale of the Century, when they showed you the prizes, there'd be a hot woman standing next to it, because beautiful women make things look better. It's just a fact. Are you on mute, Packer?
I'll just mute myself for that cough. That was all.
That's all right. Good call. You're learning. So what we'll do, we're going to do, this won't take long. Let me just put, right. So we'll do one when they do their names, and I'll pause it out of 10. I know it's awful. I just can't help myself. So here we go. Number 1, the first girl, first one out of 10. Here we go. I'll let her say, I give her permission to say her name, and then I would like you to put in the chat your out of 10 on how beautiful she looks. That's it. And you know what? Here's the weird thing. I feel a bit guilty doing this. I feel like I will get people slagging me off for this, even with my opinions. And that disgusts me that society has done that to me, that has made me feel bad about finding women attractive. Right, here we go then. Let's go. We'll start off with numero uno. I'm going to leave my mic on, so you might get a bit of an echo. So don't wait for the. Hang on, we'll get it past that bit. So they start. Right, here we go. Right, so here we go. Ready?
6 of the hottest women from the UK. So I'm going to let you introduce yourselves one by one.
Hi, I'm Bonnie. This is my Instagram app.
So Bonnie, that's her Instagram app. Now I'm going to show you something that might affect your decision. Having seen the whole video,
I was just about to type my number in.
Yeah. Hang on. Okay. That's what Bonnie looks like.
Afternoon tea party. Afternoon dinner. Picnic. Lunch.
Oh. Okay, so that was Bonnie. I'm going to put mine in.
Bonnie just got an extra point.
Yeah, she's so what have we got? Martin says get your tits out. Adam, I don't know Adam. Are you new in these parts, Adam? You're quite welcome. Lovely. Drop a load and go. So, if that's what both of you want, I suppose. Ugly Truth says gives a 6. Packers a 7. I've given Bonnie an 8. Special K 7. It's quite a high one. Tic Tac. I don't know who that is. Are you new here? Lovely to see you. Who's got eyes that actually work? I must admit, I've been writing all day yesterday, nearly all night, and all day today, so they're not doing too well. Wolf is giving her an eye mark. Jess thinks it's awesome. Oh, there you go. Jess has given her an 8. Me and you on the same there. A 7 from Andrew. Special K likes the hips. Leon says it's disgusting filth. There you go.
Not your type, Leon.
I know he's joking. the weird thing is, I think people are enjoying neon, but there were times. Eleanor says a very pretty girl. Yeah, very pretty girl, without a doubt. I think that's fair enough. Okay. Oh, I think Mark McCoy is giving an 8.5. Says if they're OnlyFans, I don't think they're OnlyFans. They're like Instagram girls. One of them's a boxer. One of them's like an MMA girl. I don't think these are OnlyFans girls. They might be, but I don't necessarily think so. Or surely they'd be advertising their OnlyFans and they're advertising their Instagram. So no, but this woman's channel is she's like an MMA fighter. Don't judge a bird by her underwear. Mike Edwards is right up near perfection there. Bonjamon. I know someone I call Bon, and his name's Benjamin. That wouldn't be you, though. You'd give any woman a 10 out of 10. Why wouldn't you? Willow wants to know if the one in the middle, the mum, she certainly had some work, I think it's fair to say. Barrett Zippo, no. Rob, ugly. Oh, you're talking about
number 3.
You're talking about he's talking to Ugly Truth. Ugly Truth says disappointing boobs. I like all boobs. I like stupid ones that are so big the nipples touch the kitchen floor when she's on her back. And I say that because they were when she did. Not her. I like, there's something pleasant and sensual in all things female. Tic Tac says, "Is this Spot the Girl, man?" I will promise you now, this is not a secret. At the end, I'm going to go, nah.
Yeah.
October.
2, 3, and 5 have got a cock.
You gave a bloke 9 out of 10. No, wouldn't do that to you. Right, moving on. Let's go.
Hey, this is my Instagram app. Hi, I'm Amber. This is my Instagram app.
Right, so that was Amber. Let's finish it on Amber.
Hi, I'm Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie. My name's Chris. This is my YouTube channel. Email in the about.
This is my Instagram app. Hi, I'm Amber.
Right, so I'm trying to get a nice picture of it, but there's something wrong. Get your scores on the doors, people. You see, she's a beautiful woman. She seems to tick a lot of boxes for me. She's got a fair breast. She's got sexy long blonde hair. I like the old roots coming through. But I don't know, man.
She's not faring so well, anywhere near as well. Mike's quite keen, but most people.
Yeah, look, Wolfie's
wrong side of the middle. Yeah. Yeah, she's
what is it, Packer? I mean, look at those.
Way too fake, Chris. She's way too fake, and she's
but hang
way
on,
too much makeup on. Way too much makeup on, and everything under that's plastic.
Hang on a minute. We all know the bird. I mean, all that bimbofication thing. I've got nothing wrong with fake. That's why this one's a weird one for me. I'll show you the fakest woman ever.
You don't, and that's fine. But a lot of blokes do have a problem with fake.
Okay, but I just want to show you this because. And let me just find one that I can actually show on the television where you can see a boat race as well. Is that going to get me chucked off? What are the marks like, Packer? Keep me informed.
Oh, well, she scored a solid 4.5, 5 somewhere. I mean, she was getting 2s and 3s. And up to 7s, I think. Oh
no, that's a terrible picture of this woman I've picked up. I can do better than that. I'm not doing her justice. I'm not doing her plasticity justice. I think
Martin really didn't like her.
No.
Some people giving her a 2.
2? What? Yeah. See, it's weird. She does actually tick a lot of my boxes, but if I went into a boozer or something, I wouldn't. She wouldn't attract me. Nothing like the one on her, on her left as we look at it. However, old Candy Charms, who's like, she's the ultimate bimbo. Hang on, why can't you see that? Has it caught me out? Have I got a thing saying you can't nick this picture or something?
No.
Right.
There was some notification message there. But...
Yeah, this is copyrighted or something. Right, hang on. Right. So someone like Candy Charms, give me your out of 10s on Candy Charms there. I'd give you my left leg for a night with that. I tell you, night of that, 1/2 ounce of sulfate. Good Lord, we both need hospital by the end of it. I mean, she's probably quite. Anyway, I've kind of gone off the game, as it were. Let's get back to. So that second lady didn't do well at all.
No, she was only half as popular by the looks of it.
Why? Can people tell me why? Why is this? Well, I'll get those girls back up. Why is that the second lady scoring so much lower? I mean, she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, but Andy Mack said she's a plastic woman. That's the vibe she's giving off.
Yeah, but I you know what I think it is? I think, and I know this is going to sound strange, her face is a bit masculine.
A little bit, yeah.
I think she hasn't got. I think her jawline. I mean, look, Jesus, they're all beautiful women.
Hey, this is my Instagram app.
I wouldn't say no to any of them. I wouldn't, but
Hi, I'm Anne.
there's something a bit masculine about it. Or there is always the case that she might just be. There might be something semiotic going on. That she's got something kind of angry about her. You get the feeling she's going to give you a lot of earache. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
She's not appearing very smiley, to be fair, but can she muster a smile with that much gunk in her face? And
I mean, yeah. Look at her compared to the one on her left, who's like, just like, ooh. All right, number 3, who on this picture looks like fucking hell.
She's not doing well at the minute. That's a horrible steal for her.
Right, number 3, get your scores on the doors, people.
My Instagram app.
Not that one, this one.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and this is my Instagram app.
Oh, that jumped a bit.
That was quick, wasn't it? But she did she improved significantly when she smiled.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and this is my Instagram.
Right, so there we go, people. It's the girl next door, Rebecca Cox. That's got to be an anagram, isn't it? Scores on the doors, please, people. Arklow is giving Rebecca Cox a hello, Arklow. Martin, she's right up Marsh's Street.
I've given her a 5. They're coming in. Oh, sorry.
I'm changing my mind a little bit actually now. But look at the one on her left or our left that didn't do well. Look at her there. I think she's twice their age. The rest of them, I reckon they're all in their mid-20s, and I'm saying blonde is weird in this context. Yeah. But old Blondie there looks like she could be their mother. Oh, hang on, she's
looking 38, 40 there, isn't she?
Suddenly, that's just made her a bit more appealing. Right, how's Rebecca Cox doing?
Freudian slip.
It was always there, wasn't it? Barry Zippo likes a lot. Not Anglo's cup of tea. There's Packers 5. Ugly Truth 6. Andrew's enjoying this lady. Bon Jamon has given her a 6. Above average. Martin thinks she's cute. Yeah, again, beautiful women. I'm not. Oh my God.
Mrs. Packer says 7.
7 for Rebecca Cox. Okay, that's a fair call. Nice one. I'll call her Mrs. Packer because so many times I've nearly called her first name. Do you know what I mean? And I go, yeah. All right, Mrs. Packer. Mrs. Packer, what do you reckon of that one, the other one? I don't want to involve you if you're busy, love, but you just joined in. That one that no one really sort of liked.
Yes, dear, the orange one. She don't like her. She looks fake and miserable.
There's something miserable about her. There is. There really is. All right. So
we saw what we saw, Chris. She saw an emotion.
No, but that's what I said afterwards, because, you know, you come on 1 pint down and she went, come home and do what you want. You'll be like, no man, apart from maybe Brad in this chat or the other Bondres, is not going to fuck her if they're single. That's just...
Yeah, I can't remember what I given her. It was a 3 or a 4. And I'll be honest, yes. If she decided she was going to drag me into the bushes, I wouldn't put up much of a fight.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not being nasty to any of these women, but... there's something about her. She comes across, and it's on an unconscious level that you can't name. It's not like I don't like her tits, I don't like her hair. There's something that goes back right since we climbed out of the chemical swamp that tells us there's something that we didn't get with number 1, who I'm still looking at. Right, so Rebecca Cox. Otto gave Rebecca Cox an 8. Willow said her nickname sucks. Good call. There you go. We got a joke out of it. Great stuff. Glass is on the firm. Glass. What did you give the first lady? And just out of interest. Jared says 3 is nice, but a bad still picture. Well, hang on. I'll drag it back a bit. I tried to just stop it. Hello, Bonnie.
Hi, I'm Anne. This is
someone that one looks like Bonnie's mum. That's the problem I'm having. She got badly positioned next to Bonnie, didn't she?
my Instagram.
Hi,
Right, I'm trying to get a nice shot of this one.
I'm Rebecca. And this is my...
There you are. There you go. So okay, she done pretty well. Hello, Andy. Hello, Mark. Nick. What are we talking about, Nick? 2. Oh, the old woman. Sorry, she's not old. Looks like incredible observation. You can't just want the one in the black bra. You have to make the effort. But we'll see if I want them all. Yes, you know. Welcome to being a man. It starts when you're 12 months old, and so far hasn't stopped. Doc, hello, Doc. 2 is a dude. Don't forget, people, it's now 2:45 in the morning. So if you want to keep the grift going, entropy in the top left, top of the chat, and super chat at the bottom. You can even scan buy me a coffee. I'll tell you about that little turnout in a minute. That's back. Jay Palmer says 100% she's in her 50s. The old dear. I've just called her the old dear. Look at John, brutal. 3 looks the most, less fucked in the head. I mean, good Lord, how do you even start? Rob says 7, despite being stoned. Women look like princesses, though, when you're stoned. When I used to do acid with my girlfriend, I thought she was like some kind of universal queen. I'd be like bowing to her. Well, and then fucking her, obviously, but for about 2 minutes beforehand, it was like some kind of sensual, celestial party in the sexual mind. Okay. Hello, Pizzle. He's going to kick some ass at Trivial Pursuit. Okay. Lord knows what it means. Special K says, tarts. Okay. I don't like tattoos on women so much, but Otto does seem to. We haven't even got on to her yet. Hello,
tattoos don't bother me.
I mean, I wouldn't say no, obviously, but given the choice, I mean, Candy Charms is covers in them. Anglo prefers a brunette.
I'm in then.
Nick says years of gangbangs. What the old dear? Come on, I will never and would not want to control the Glorious House of Scrubs chat because it's a community. But let's not turn this into just being nasty to women. I mean, it's a good joke. But I was a bit concerned about that. You know, women are
This is a
lovely.
very serious segment where we're giving good-looking women marks out of 10.
Jesse's sweating. Good Lord. I am. I will be afterwards. Go on, son. Emma likes the first one. I give her an 8 as well. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Right.
Mrs. Packer says she likes the first one.
Well, yeah.
So far, out of the 3.
Good call. All right, Packer, you can feel free to drop in what scores people are doing because I obviously can't do them all. You don't have to as well, though. Obviously, I'm not giving you go.
I'll shout them out if they look.
Glasses, you've got at least. Right, okay, we're moving on from Rebecca's Cox. Andy Mack has opened the Griftertron. Nice one, Andy. A Prasha Canatu, as per usual. Look at that. The full Italian tonight. I'm in such a good mood. Even though I'm gambling money that I borrowed to pay my corporation tax. My missus she's fucking sweating, I can tell you. When I explained it to her, she nearly started crying. I was like, it's not that bad. And as I said that, I thought, maybe it is actually.
Could be.
Anyway, I think it is, Packer. I think it is, you know. I borrowed money from the bank to pay corporation tax, but I got it like 2 months before I need to pay it. Because in case they didn't give it to me, I'd have had to have found another way of raising the money. So I thought, I'm not going to sit here on a few bags of sand when I can invest it.
Right.
So if it goes up, I pay the corporation tax and I might have a bit, you know, left over. But if they go down, I won't be able to pay it anyway. Walmsley, sorry, Ellie, says, I have no tattoos, only the mark of the devil. sensual minx. Good gosh. Yeah, one's absolutely smashing it. Well, Anglo says, tats on a bird doesn't bother me if she's hot. Yeah, I think, that's...
I'm with Anglo.
It's funny, isn't it? You hear blokes going, nah, bleach there. I just won't do it. All right, you find a real hot bird and bleach your hair. You'll be like, no, I'm not. No. Right,
get off me.
What's that, Packer?
I said, get off me.
Yeah, exactly. Right, the next girl is actually a channel, and it's a little bit sad actually because she is an MMA fighter, and I can't help but think you can see where she's been smashed about a bit. Nice one, JD. Really appreciated. The early morning grift is not flying, but you've certainly got it on the runway, and I enjoy that.
I think you just tainted the survey there, Chris, with that comment, because now every bloke is going to imagine knocking her about.
Oh my God! I didn't think that. You thought of that.
Exactly. I bet I'm not the only one.
I didn't think that once at all. I've never hit a woman except for
okay. But the jury disregard that last comment.
Wait, Packer. I've never hit a woman apart from that bird that I strangled to death.
Yeah, no, I've never hit a woman, and I haven't strangled one to death either.
No, I've hit. She used to love me hitting her, and she went to me. She went, "Oh, I love the way you hit me." She went, "You don't hit, none of my boyfriends hit me like you do." So okay, thanks. It weren't up my street at all though, and she liked me getting like. It started off with a few bum slaps, and by the end of it, and this is over a period of about 6 months, she really liked like a right uppercut in the ribs. That's fucking hurts. You know what I mean? Like a proper. Hang on, I need to stop this. So where are we? Let's move that. I don't like this new system. You know, like that. Like an uppercut here,
right?
And it would be going bang, and she'd be. And I told you, didn't I? She bought a sexy whip, but it broke while I was whipping her, and I went, "It's broke." So then she bought a real horse whip, and that broke. That's how hard I was hitting her. These things are made for whipping horses. And when it broke and she was all chained up to the stairs, because she was mid-pain orgasm, she was just looking around the room to, get anything. And I had a nice 300 knicker Smith & Son umbrella. She went, get the umbrella. And I was thinking, okay.
I'd have gone, hang on, nipped out and got like 4.5 foot.
When it rains in Soho, all the newsagents, they put these like boxes outside. They're £1. It's like a temporary umbrella. Do you know what I mean? Right, let's move on to the street fighter that Packer wants to smash about.
Don't. That doesn't turn me on.
I'm sorry.
That ain't what I said. That's what you thought.
You can keep digging yourself further, mate. I'm just letting it. I'm letting it sit in the air like a really heavy fart. Here we go, people. So not that one. The next.
Instagram app. Hi, I'm Georgia.
Right. So we've missed the middle one. So we're going to move straight on to Georgia. Right, hang on. Right,
well, her vote was knackered anyway.
Oh, hang on. Here's Bonnie.
My Instagram app.
No, hang on. Right. It's right. So right. We're gonna skip the host because it does. And have a look at the brunette.
And this is my Instagram app. Hi, I'm Georgia. This is my Instagram.
Right, there we go, people. Georgia. Well, let's have another little look.
Yeah.
And hear her voice. If you want to, that's a lovely still there. Those tattoos suddenly don't seem to mean a thing to me. Interesting. Look at the other girls' faces. The blonde.
Anglo likes it. She's got a 9.
Anglo's in with an 8. I see a couple of chats come in. I will deal with them after we've done the ladies. Very kind of you. Thank you. At this time of night, that's just what's going to keep me here, be honest. I weren't the totty. Jessica 8. Andy said, I had a chick that wanted to punch my lights out. No, I've never had that. I had one who actually did because she wanted me to beat her up. And when I refused, she started spitting at me and like scratching me. So I just had to hold her down to stop her doing that. And that sort of done it for her. So, when in Rome, I just sort of slipped it in. And yeah, I'm not into any of that really, Andy. You do it if they ask, but you could be getting set up. You'd never know, would you? Imagine some bird come round, or you met her out and you got home and said, I love a bloke, give me a little slap about. You do it, and then she goes home. An hour later, the old Bill turn up, photos of some bird with bruises and God knows what. And you're like, yeah, she said she wanted it. That's what they all say, you monster. You're going inside. And you know what they do to people like you inside, didn't you?
Keys to the Kingdom says 10.
Hang on. Where is
perfect bird?
Jess says hot as fuck. JD 85. Not 85. That'd be weird. 8.5. Special case 6. Martin has given it the full 10. There we go. We have a little pop for the full 10. Nick 7. Did someone actually say perfect bird, or is it just the 10?
No, it's just a 10 that I saw.
Okay, but that is a perfect bird. Tic Tac's that and everything at this point. That's the way to be, though.
It's keys to the kingdom.
Oh, so we've got 2 10s. Don't doubt everything, but certainly question it. All seeing Otto, just above average. Mike Edwards 7. Jared, don't know what one. Here, Jared, this one here. Can you see my cursor circling her face like I'd like my semen to do? Brad's giving her a -1. I mean, that ain't bad though, Brad, considering. Do you know what I mean? Oh, Bonjamon has given her a -1 for the tax.
Mrs. Packer says 7 or 8. So 7.5.
I mean, she's a very pretty girl. She is a very.
Yeah, I can't. Nothing against her, just not overly my type. I don't think. Just something not doing it for me.
So Barrett, When you say Georgia, do you know this model? You know who she is, do you? Or is that the girl who runs the show? Because you're calling her, or did she actually say, I'm Georgia? Let's see. You can't take it back a little bit.
Hi, I'm Georgia. This is my.
Oh, she says it. Oh, look at that. Oh, man. That love. Ah. When you can see that beautiful female innocence in a woman. Oh. I'd love to get a glamour model on this show just so that you could see me just disintegrate. It wouldn't work back, or you'd end up having to do the show. And
yeah, I'm not sure I'd fare any better, to be honest.
Can you imagine having like a right? I was talking to someone. I think I mentioned it on here. I mention most things. I've had loads of girlfriends. I've had threesomes with them. And all sorts. They don't give a shit about all that sort of stuff. This one got me a bird for my birthday once, my current girlfriend, a couple of years ago. But none of them like Joe Guest. Now they know I've met her, so that might have. But what it is Joe Guest isn't a traditional beauty, at all. She talks like she's got learning difficulties. That might be what does it. But there's something about her that men just really, really like. She's sort of like she was like the flagship glamour model of the 90s. She was in pop videos, all sorts. And that's not looks or makeup or God knows what it is about Joe Guest. Marks out of 10 in the chat for Joanne Guest, people. We're going a little bit off piece there. This isn't going to be the old show, by the way. It'd be ridiculous. But I've talked about her a lot. You know the story when I should have. Oh, I can't believe I could pull her, man. I did actually French kiss her. It was on. Do you know what I mean? It was on.
Lots of high scores. Emma, not so. Emma gives her an 8. Sorry.
What are we talking about? Joe Guest now?
Yeah, we are. I'm doing the Joe Guest now. Yeah, lots of 7s to 10s. She's top tier.
I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to bother finding a picture of her because I've just looked at one of her and I'm just thinking of Shattered Dreams, Packer. Shattered Dreams.
Tic Tac gives her a 5. Oh,
well, Joe Guest,
I don't know what that means.
All right, people. Anglo reckons she's pretty. Okay, listen, I'm getting all sorts of confused here. I don't know what's going on. Right, and that was my fault. Thank you for the super chat. I just seen another one come in. Willow says 10, but now 1. Yeah, well, she got older and she got she thinks she's got fibromyalgia, but that's just a nonsense. That doesn't exist. It's just knackered. That's what getting old and working does to you. Brad James says Joe Guest would have been in all the household music videos. Yeah, everyone. Literally, God. And I'd make it a thing. Dangerfield, the singer from Household, was so obsessed with glamour model Joe Guest that he had her in every single of his videos, even one that was set in a wartime. She played the... sorry, I'm just losing the plot. Right, let's move on. Now, sadly, I think the next lady is going to get the... lower points. Look at that. Nick has been doing some background research. I've looked at Georgia on Insta and I'm revising my 7 to a 6. Ooh. Incredible detail.
Nick's a proper journalist. He's already looked into it.
Eleanor says Dangerfield is having the Jim Bowen moment. Look at what you could have won. I was having a personal Bowen moment. And it happens quite frequently, I have to say. Willow says she's got constipation, can't pass a fridge. Packer, any? Can you give me any help with that?
No.
Just straight up, ugly truth. Wendy James is a similar kind of, cut from a similar mould to Guest. Anyway, let's move on with this. Andy says, I'm really glad that I'm old. I don't have the energy anymore. interesting question, Andy. And I, obviously don't feel obliged to answer because it is also private. But you haven't got the energy, but do you have the desire? Do you want to, but you've just written it off because you're too fucking old and knackered, or you're just not interested? Because I was working years ago, one of the 3 days I've ever actually worked in my life, like not including my business, obviously. And I was working with a bloke there, and he was only about 50, and I was like 16, and I was talking about the girls from the night before. He went, "No, I'm not." I said, "Do you go out and pull birds, Mick?" He went, "I'm not fucking interested." I went, "What do you mean?" He went, "I'm just not interested. I'm not." He went, "Sex, I'm not interested in it." He said, "I used to." He said, "But," I went, "What? You woke up one day and just thought I don't want sex anymore?" He went, "Pretty much, yeah." And I've never forgotten that. I'm the opposite. I wake up every morning and think, "Fucking hell." I want to see Andy's answer, so I'm going to. Can you keep an eye out for Andy's answer, Packer, while I move on to the next one? Would that be fair?
Right.
I think this next. What I asked him was, is he just knackered, or has he lost a desire, or both? He might not answer. Right, we're moving on to the next girl, and I think Martin. I do most women nowadays. Yeah, and I think most men do as well, to be honest with you. It's a bonus if they're hot, but men fancy women and women fancy men. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be here. The culture industry likes to present women like this, all done up, lit in fine lingerie and all that. But I've had sex with women who look like my fucking auntie in a jumper and like a pair of fucking man's jeans. Doesn't really matter because she's female and I'm a heterosexual male.
Behind a rock on a beach with her jeans rolled down to her wellies.
Brushing one hand, the other hand in a tin of Swarfiga. David John said, "Haha, most of Asia." Yeah, David, I think that's fair enough. Grateful. Yeah, I mean, men should be grateful that the world is full of very beautiful women. It is. I mean, we're all giving it the 7, 8, 4, 5. But what we also need to admit is if we were single, we'd probably have sex with anything from a 3 up. 3, 4, 5, It's not just the 9s and 10s. But the next one, I feel a little... Here, Andy's answered. "Hello, Dax. Good to see you, mate." Andy says, "Okay, I'm old and knackered. I've loved one woman. I've got 3 adult children, and I'm literally tired." How beautiful, Andy. What a lovely story. I'm serious, Backer. I mean it.
I'm with you.
He fell in love with a woman. He had 3 kids with her. And he's just done. He's done his job. And when you come on the other night, Andy, and you didn't realise it was a takeover, at the start, people were like, "Oh, come on, mate, sort it out." And by the end of it, you'd won them over. I was very impressed. Right, let's move on to the next lady. Thank you, Andy, for answering that. Here we go.
Instagram. Hi, I'm Effie. This is my Instagram.
All right, we'll go back to her again.
Hi, I'm Georgia. This is my Instagram. Hi, I'm Effie. This is my Instagram.
So there we go, people. What's that? Oh, yeah, sorry, mate.
Get the message off.
Yeah.
There you go. There she looks better.
We'll do her again. We'll give her another chance.
Hi, I'm Effie. This is my Instagram.
So Effie, Flexi Effie. Now, put an X in the chat if you're meant to be scoring Effie, but you're looking at the girl on her right. on the screen's right. Right, hang on. So Effie's scoring highly. Dax says yes, please. Willow says she looks like Herman Munster's missus.
6. Did I put me 6?
Yes, Jess wanted to comment away as well because you couldn't see the boobs. Eleanor Superchav, she's gone for everything, hasn't she? I'm not feeling that. She's got the tattoos down her cleavage. Yeah, no, it's not. I'm gonna give her a 4 for effort. But again, you know, she's scored.
Anglo not impressed. Anglo give her a 1. The rest of them seem to be fairly middling. It's quite low to quite high.
Jeff says no woman should ever have a nose ring. I find it unattractive. It's not for me. Glass gives her a 6.
Wolfie 8.5. Look.
We ain't got there yet, son.
She's popular with some.
Hang on, what did I ask the X for? What was the X for, Packer?
If you were staring at the bird on the right of her.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
And the
so
plenty
was
work.
Jared, so was JD. There you go. Yeah, Andrew likes this one. He's given her a strong Anglo 1. And isn't it weird? Different tastes. And so everyone got distracted. Hello, Adzak. Good to see you. There's so many X's. John wants to know what an Instagram is. Keys to the Kingdom. Hello, mate. Emma Glass has just said, okay. Oh, I get you. Oh, come on, Emma. You can do better than that.
X.
Go on, Emma. Do it for me. Oh,
Drop.
my God. I nearly... Hey, Packer said something. He knew it. He knew. Oh, damn. You broke the code. That's what I wanted. JP beat Glass to it. Bollocks, bollocks, bollocks. Emma's trying to work out what one she likes, but Packer's voting for the missus.
I'm not voting for her. She's telling me.
No, that's what I meant. You know, you're giving her a vote. No, it's a fair question, but I did promise at the beginning that it isn't like a secret. Ha ha ha. Hang on a minute. Andy's changed his mind and he's not actually that tired. I don't know what's going on with you, Mr. Mac.
Well, I think it might just be a case of if he stares at her long enough. Something deep inside starts.
I'll tell you what, Martin, anything working class I find attractive. You know, I've had women before and they've gone out and they've spent like 300 quid in what's the shop called?
Claire's Accessories.
No, I know, no, but that would be better. No, she went to Coco de Mer. It's like a high, proper sort of eyes wide shut sex shop. It's just up 7 Dials, Covent Garden, in between Covent Garden and Soho. And you know, you go in there and you buy like a bit of lingerie. You're paying 500 quid, and it's like, wow. And it doesn't do anything for me. You go down Dartford Market and get a neon pink boob tube for like £2.50. You'll be up to your ankles in sperm all weekend. Okay, let's move on to the last and final of the beauties. I'm sorry, I'll keep getting told off for covering the best bit. Rill or Rill? Rill, are you the original Rill? Because there used to be a Rill about. JP says the one on the right has a full leg tattoo. You found this video, haven't you? You've seen what it's called up the top and you've watched it. Don't worry, we'll be having a little look at suddenly I'm not so uninterested. Sorry, what have we done? Where are we going? We didn't do the last one. I think we should do it. It's only fair. Here we go. Last one.
Hi, I'm Elle. This is my Instagram.
Oh, the accent was enough for me, man. Oh my God, yeah, the full leg. You know that. Sorry, I'll lose the comment. You know that in 3 years she's going to have a full body. Her whole body's going to be tattooed up. But the accent on that last one there. Let's just hear that again. Isn't it weird? Just that. I missed that when I first watched this. And the other 55 times I watched it. Here we go. Turn it up a bit.
This is my Instagram. Hi, I'm Elle. This is my Instagram.
Right.
A lot of 10s. This is all high marks.
So shit. Let's just try and get a nice freeze frame on her. It's quite difficult because.
This is my Instagram app. Hi, I'm Georgia. This is my Instagram. Hi, I'm Effie. This is my Instagram. Hi, I'm Elle. This is my Instagram.
So I think this one's the winner.
Oh yeah.
But like by far, isn't it? Yeah, I'm with you, JD. I'm with you.
This one's the winner. Got the most high marks.
Interesting. But hang on a minute. Hang on. Let me just remind you of this. And so let's have a look at the winner. The winner. Oh, hang on. Before we look at the winner again. Oh my God! Let's just watch that. Slow down a little bit. People, it's late. It's 3:10 in the morning. Yeah, watch this. Look, watch this and try not to. Yeah, I'm with you, Glass, without a doubt. Let's just see why. Oh. Yeah. No. Oh, come on. Yeah. Go on, do it again. I think that's enough of that. So, Packer, what did you make of today's introduction to the stream?
That was hilarious, wasn't it? I think the last girl had it. She won that, and the first girl came good second.
So I think we should. Rags is sticking. Romance. Romance is never dead.
He's a smooth talking bastard, isn't he?
That's fucking gross, man. Good to see you, Rags. A couple of super chats I've got to catch up on. I'll do them all again, actually, to remind other people. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, JD. Keys to the Kingdom, Knives Stream. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, people, because I've been writing for like nearly 48 hours solid. I've had a few hours skip here and there. But it's funny how, because W and E are so, they're next to each other on the keyboard. The amount of times I'm writing like outwhere and sort of like walkware, because they're there. And when you get into the flow state, I can type quite fast. But as you drag your fingers across, it's scrubisms all the way. Now, thank you, Keys of the Kingdom. That's very kind, very generous. Jared dropped a Lady Godiva, just chipping in for the grift. He's even given us his 31542. Thank you, Gerard. Anglo Objectivism of Birds, a classic Dangerfield streaming coming. Yeah, they are. That what I know you're not arguing with me, Anglo, but they were sexually objectifying themselves then. And yet, if the wrong person watched this video, they'd complain that I was. And then in a court of leftist orthodoxy, what are they called? Kangaroo court. It would be, no, they're not in the wrong. And I go, no one's in the wrong. They go, no, you are. You can't look at them and enjoy them and talk about them sexually. I go, yeah, but they're in their underwear. They've made themselves look sexually attractive. Yeah, but you're not entitled to enjoy that. And that is how bizarre the left is. So what? I've just got to sit there and go, yes, this is great entertainment. The semi-naked makeup and hairdo and all that other stuff is...
I think we're allowed to say how stunning and brave they are. That's it. That's all you can say.
Well, I've got pre-cum coming out the end of my willy at the moment, so I'm going to go well beyond stunning and brave. They've caused me to self-lubricate. I might actually... Hello, mate! You could have warned me, son. You could have warned me. I wouldn't. I don't want to do that.
You walked in when you said the worst line of that.
Yeah. Sorry. I am actually sorry. That's not great.
So he didn't even get it in context.
Okay. Yeah. He just heard your mate from the internet say that. Hang on a minute, people. It's only fair. Something for the ladies and Bradley. Right, hang on. I'm going to knock something up on AI for you, and then we'll do it for the ladies and the homosexuals. Thanks, Brad, for the donation. Thank you, Anglo, for that one.
Are we doing black now?
They're coming. Brad said,
This
"Where's
is like
their
an episode of Vice."
We're going to do I think it'll be interesting. That's why. Let's just try it. I'll do it on the old AI. Hang on. I wonder if it's going to let me get away with that particular part of the prompt. They're getting so sure. Oh, no, they haven't let me have that. And moderator thinks that's probably banned. Is that to me? Yeah, it is. All right, I can do it again. Don't worry, I'll just do it slightly different. They don't let me have this. The whole thing has gone to shit. No, we're good. So we have Packer. Can you take the stream? I badly need a Jimmy Riddle. Thank you for all those super chats, people. I'll check entropy. It is the preferred method. Probably why it doesn't get any. Have you noticed I got my Packer? Can you indicate the buy coffee? I got that back. I appealed and I got it. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Right, here we go then. Right, let's do that. I will open it in my browser and I'm going to select that one. I will close Midjourney. Oh, hello, Candy. I forgot you were there. You can lick my unconscious. Right. This will be interesting. I wonder what this is going to be weird. I've got some blokes on the screen. Packer, would you rather wait for me to come back to the...
No, stick them up. We can all have a good look then, can't we?
All right. So right now, I'm going to say this. Men like I said, male sexuality in the first instance is very visual, whereas women not. And you know, this is a broad stroke. You can go up to a woman and be interesting or funny, and you've got her in the palm of your hand, and you don't even have to be that attractive. Whereas a woman could come up to you and be interesting or funny, and you'll be like, "That's amazing. Is that bird with you?" Because the other one looks, tunes into you. So I just got AI. I just said do 3 male models. I did specify white. So I'm going to put them on the screen, and I want you to deal with this, men, because women deal with this all their lives, and so I think I put the wrong screen up. Oh, imagine that's my private men's folder. I've got one that I edited because you get 4. There you go. Screen filler. There you go. I'm having a wee. Let us know in the chat, ladies and Bondres.
I'll tell you, Chris, the men are not liking this, some of them.
Oh, I should fucking hope not.
all the same man, or are we three different men? It's called a men.
Yeah.
Right, so these ain't very popular with anyone then, are they?
No.
Anyone like them?
No.
No one likes them, Chris. It's just an all-round no.
No, it's interesting because most of the gays I know, when I was the only straight in the village, they liked working class blokes. They liked working class men, and they're models, aren't they? I wrote into Midjourney 3 white male models. So ladies not interested at all. Ladies,
well, they're not. The consensus is they're not real and they're not men.
Yeah,
they're
but
boys.
Come on.
It's the general consensus of your
okay,
of the
too
chat.
young. All right, hang on. All right, fair play. Let me try something else then.
I think they're too pretty.
All right, hang on.
It's called handsome, not pretty. Pretty's for women, not for men. Doesn't matter. It's still the same word.
That's my point, Robert.
Now you're subjecting words to women and to words to men. You should do that. It's just in general. They're called a pretty boy.
All right, I heard you. Does your missus know everyone can hear her?
Just now. She's just having a conversation with Robert about who should be called pretty. Because when I said them boys was too pretty, Robert went, boys shouldn't be pretty.
There you go. Good lad. When I said I need to go for a piss, Glass said that.
I know.
Yeah, Nick, it was amazing. I just appealed. I thought it was because of my content. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, because it's not for it, really. I mean, there is another way. If you just put your phone camera, Packer, can you indicate that buy me a coffee QR code? You put your phone camera over that, and then it will come up a link on your camera. You can click it, go through. But it's more for my Substack, because some people have said they don't want to subscribe for a whole year, which I totally understand. But they would like to occasionally sort of drop a $5 or a $10 on. And when they said, no, you can't have an account, I just thought, it's hard enough being a writer like me. I don't write commercial fiction. And now I can't even get a few quid here and there. But then I watched a YouTube channel that had one of those things that Packer's about to indicate. 4th time lucky. You've learned it now, haven't you? And they were talking about things really, really vulgar and hideous. And I thought, well, how comes they're getting away with it? Right, here we go. I'm gonna offer you 2. No, the thing is, it's giving me, and I will blame myself, but it's just giving me the other end of the spectrum. They're just like granddads now.
Yeah.
And that tells you something about the internet, because that tells you about the kind of images that are on the internet. Middle-aged men are kind of not. There's no value for them online. That isn't. There's not a lot of cultural currency in 35, 40-year-old men. Right. So here we go. Although nearly every bird I've fucked, and there's been a few thousand, has said, "Call me daddy" at some point. So. We'll see. We'll have a look. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a go at these ones first. Then they're slightly older, but they're not models. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. But ladies and bondres is what I mean, really. What do we make of these 3 likely lads? Here we go. Emma G says we should do a Scrubs men photo pic. Oh, Oh, that's interesting, Emma.
Well,
I reckon we'd get
she's
about...
just going to vote for 42.
Yeah, but... Yeah, of course she will, yeah. Well, imagine she didn't. But I think we'd get about 5 people. It'll be me, you, Barclay, and someone else who's been seen on the stream loads of times. Barclay had a go at me the other day. He said, next time I'm on the stream, give me a bit more attention if you don't mind.
Mrs. Packer likes blue eyes on the right.
Ah, there you go. So we're getting somewhere now. Okay. Spanish Chicken says AI is shite. Fuck it off. It has taken over commerce and industry, though. So you might think it's shite, but I don't know what business you're in, but that's like what people said in the 80s about computers. And
that's a point. Emma G would have to vote for someone else because 42 is not about to show everybody his face, is he?
There you go. Good call. Ragnar, I think that's the beer talking, so I've got absolutely no idea what it's in reference to. I do. Buy me a beer. I was demonetized for a video of Godfrey Bloom I posted 2 years ago. What, they demonetized the video or your whole channel? So here we go. We got some women making some comments. Ether Elephant says, no, Scrubs calendar. I'll tell you what, if I had the money and the time, I'd love to. I would have, it would be so funny. Like, not men, just all of us, not like the scrub men or scrub women, but, mixing certain people with other people and like doing poses and that. That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Packer, who would you like to... Because there's only 12 months, we'd have to have like groups of us.
Right.
I'd like to go me, Dawn Browning, Linda Hunter, and Emma Glass. So they're all taken. And Jess, sorry.
Right.
So you're left with Jared, 42 in Anglo.
Did you say Emma Glass?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you've had all the good ones. I'll go Johnny, not Pal. John Palmer.
Yeah, that would be a cracking shoot.
And
man.
Steve Cray.
That would be a really good shoot. You'd have JP there just making it such a laugh. So Eleanor's not digging them at all. Emma, got anything to say about these boys? It is changing your job. Trades, it is changing your job, Spanish Chicken. I could be wrong, but I already know that I'm not. So, the industry, I make tools for a living, and my whole business has been transformed by AI. Now, you can not have it, but you'll be falling behind. But it's an interesting conversation either way.
I'd have Toffee as well, because Toffee thinks I'm in love with him.
Oh, what, the Scouse fella?
Yeah.
He was good here the other day, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Oh, the old channel. Yeah, I deleted over 1,000 videos, Rags. When YouTube went through that, suddenly nationalism is not allowed anymore. I deleted over 1,000. Lulu says, nope. Love Blue Eyes in general, though. What, none of those blokes? All right, okay. Let me just see if there's any more of the ladies who... I can't see any. It's an improvement from the last, but not my cup of tea. Right, so this is where it might get a little bit weird for the Scrubs ladies. Yeah, all right, Marsh, but we looked at the totty for about 30 minutes. This has been about 5 minutes. Hello, Pags. Right, all right, I've got another one for you. There's my thumbnail. It's one I've used before. Here we go. Right, ladies, What do we make of these rugged outdoor types? I know I should have put no depth of focus. TikTok said, in times of war, writing is not a talent. Are you insane? I don't think you understand how propaganda works, but, keep going, crack on. I'm up for it. Ether Elephant says, that's better. Emma says, bang on. Here we go. They are, Packer. Look, even Anglo's giving him a man, Dom. Lulu, check out that Packer. Look, brutal, ruthless. No traps. Livy.
Emma Glass likes the one in the middle.
Who does?
Emma Glass.
I didn't want to know that. Livy says, old men, yuck. Otto, look at what Livy says, and it's just above Otto's comment. Look. Livy says, old men, yuck. Otto says, they look like me. Yes, I don't know if that's. Do you think Jess is a or is she a
Yeah, that might be an almost.
I don't know if it's contemplative or a yes. Glass is saying the one in the middle. What, the one looks a bit like me, Emma? Is that the one?
I like 1 or 2.
Mrs. Packer says she likes 1 or 2.
Okay. Well, you've got about another in about 20 years, Packer, your missus will fancy you again. Jess says I need a shower. I used to know girls that loved that about me, though. They loved it that I was filthy. Emma wants them to tidy up, a little bit of facial grooming. All right, now I think I might have one by accident that I just didn't chop down. Hang on, I can drag it out of my ear. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I think I've got some accidental extra selections here. So what about these easy toppers? What about these? Nah, they're all the same, aren't they? Look at these. Packer, look at these. I don't want to go to that bar again, lot. If they get their banjos out, I don't care. If they get their leather ball whips out, I'm running. There you go. It's an interesting thing, AI, because what it has done, it has looked at the data set of the internet for the last 15 years. And when I typed in, this is what the prompt was: rugged looking men older than 30. And that's what it got. So it would have found similar images that were tagged with words like that and created those images out of them.
You just copy and paste the Harrison.
We're screwed as a society. It's all over. Now here's the point, though, people. Oh God, it's 3:30. Give me some money, fuck's sake! It's 3:30. Packer. Here's the thing, though. When we were looking at the women, it was quite light-hearted, and I think even the women were enjoying that more. Not necessarily sensually, but as I said last week, there's something about female beauty and male sexuality that makes the world a better place. Now, I'm sure there's women in the chat who would have a go, but because female sexuality doesn't really work on that in the first instance on appearance, that was just weird. It was just looking at blokes, and our culture doesn't really do that. It does not really do that. And so, people in the chat were like, just quoting old fucking, what's his name, Slimpy or something, you're not even 9. Yeah, it just felt a little bit weird, didn't it? 42, you absolutely can. Here's something interesting. Google are doing here's the problem. If you build a website, all websites have an authority score, 42. And you need to get a higher authority score to get ranked higher in the organic listings. And Google knows whether you're tagging your images well, not very well, terribly, or excellently. And because of the AI revolution, they're really making sure now you know, if you put a picture up and you don't tag it, your authority is going to plummet, because they know that the future of managing image data is going to rely on reliable and appropriate tagging. Although it won't, because in 3 years, the AI will be able to recognize what the image is anyway without you telling it. So, but for the time being, they are. Oh, what the comment of the night. Anglo wins that. God loves European men. He gave us European women. That's a crap. You know, I know I've got yellow fever, but you know, I do really. You know, it's probably half and half. There's some beautiful European women. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat you. So I think I played this about a week ago. I don't know where my memory's gone.
Eleanor Walmsley says, we rate the women just as much, and it was more fun than the men, perhaps because the men are all AI, therefore empty. She didn't like the AI-ness of it.
Okay, all right. I'll try and find a similar thing of a bunch of blokes like having a chat or modelling their underwear, and we'll see.
You're going to need a range of blokes from age-wise, build-wise, because they're just non-conformist women, aren't they? They're all different.
Would you say
I think women's tastes are much more varied than men's tastes in as far as looks goes, as a necessity, because otherwise 95 out of 100 blokes would never get a look in, would they?
Well, that's my experience of life. I'm in the 5%. Anglo says with a fiver, AI can't debone a side of beef, Chris. If you want me to go there, Anglo, I will. What it can do, it can, because I don't want to go there. Not when you've given me a fiver to. You're right. There, see how it works, people? Yes, Anglo, you're right. It can't. It can tell a computer to, though. That's the thing. It can tell a robot to, and it can sense how it needs to be moved and all that kind of malarkey. However, people won't want robotically chopped up meat, because in the same way that thank you for that donation, Anglo, and thanks to everyone who's donated. Here's something interesting. When you get a suit made in Europe, so you're looking at Italy, Spain, France, and England. You know, Germany isn't famous for its suits. And the classic style is English. People always go, people think about Giorgio Armani. Giorgio Armani is like, what's it like? It's not a cool brand. It's a really sort of, it's like Kouros. Anyway, when you have a suit made in the UK, like all my bespoke suits, the buttonholes are hand sewn. So when the bloke or woman who makes the jacket or the waistcoat cuts the lines for the buttonholes, that's then passed on to a woman it was a woman who done mine. Lynn, her name was, and she was like that. She'd been doing it so long. All she does all day is sews buttonholes, right? And they're near perfect. You know, the sewing around a hole so that the hole doesn't just grow. You know what I mean?
Well, he's going to show you by the looks of it.
This was made in Cambodia, but I just want to show you what I mean. Yeah, that was going to work. Now, when you get a suit made in England, it's that near perfect, but not perfect, that you want because it's got that human touch about it. You know, these, you know, an average 3-piece suit has got about 40 buttonholes on it. That it's mind blowing, isn't it? If you wear braces, that is, it's a high back. I think it might be 40, it might be 30 actually, or 20 even. A lot of them. But Chinese people, they show off that their suits are made in factories, mass produced. And isn't that a weird thing? A lot of my suits were made by Chinese people, Chinese tailors in London. And you know, there was a Chinese Lynn. You know the woman I said, Lynn, who used to sew the buttons. She was Chinese. Tommy, I tell you what, if you had to draw a picture of a sort of archetypal, stereotypical Chinaman, that's what Tommy looked like. You'd open his door and go, "Hello, Tommy." He'd turn and go, "Ah, hello." But you know, when he make you a suit, you'll be like, "Oh, that's lovely." You know, it's got a floating canvas, horsehair used in the floating canvas. It's, you know, all these lovely English traditions. And they go, "I don't know why you pay so much money for this shit." And I go, "What do you mean this shit? You made it." He goes, "Yeah, but look." He goes, can make with machine for like $50. I said, "Yeah, but it's a fucking machine." He went, "Yeah, machine very good. Machine made perfect." He said, "I'll tell you now." He said to me that the arms, he said one was 3 mil longer than the other. I said, "Yeah, but one of my arms is slightly longer than the other." He said, "Yeah, but and this is a thing." So isn't that a weird sort of cultural thing that they, because of what happened with the Mao's revolution and all of that, they love industry because it came late to them. It came late to the Chinese. Whereas the West suffered industry. Industrialization looked lovely when it first appeared, and then you couldn't see further than a foot in front of your face in London because of the smog. There's an actual job in like 1910 where you went around collecting shit to sell so that people could burn it. That's in a book called The Ghost Map. And you know, we suddenly saw what it done to the environment, and I don't mean about like, you know, fossil fuels and all that, but just industrialization changed our culture. Everything, we lost all our sort of tradesman stuff. You know, you'd used to go to a bloke like out here. I'm getting my bag made. I got a bag here made by Aspinall of London. My missus paid 1,500 quid for it, right? A little leather satchel sort of thing. There's a bloke down here who makes leather items. I took it in there. I said, "Can you remake this for me?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How much?" He said, $45. And I got it. My girlfriend had like a handbag, but it was plastic. And I said to her, I said, "Do you like that bag?" She said, "Yeah, I love it so much." I said, "You know, it's plastic, but it cost her $20. I said, would you like it to last for like 20 years? She said, "Yeah." So I had him make her an exact replica, but in real leather. So if any of the stitching comes undone, he can repair it. If anything goes wrong, he can repair it. It costs £25. It's just remarkable. And I said to the bloke in the shop, you know, it's like those handmade shoes I've got out here, 40 quid. In London, you're looking at least $2,000 for a pair of handmade shoes. And it's because in England, we know almost unconsciously what we've sacrificed through industrialization. You buy a pair of shoes, they're the same as everyone else's or whatever. Although we have imported African American culture and clothing into the UK, which is just treachery. You know, look at the British Empire, the style of the British Empire, from the kings and queens right down to your working class man who wore a suit every day, handmade shirt, handmade 3-piece suit, hat. And in the space of like 60 years, people are walking around in their fucking silver pajamas with like Sergio Tacchini written on it. Oh, what a shame. Anyway, this is Odin's Men. You know when I told you about a year ago, I said I've got a real big star coming on here, a real big YouTuber. Well, it was Odin's Men, Jameson's Travels. He said he was up for it. And then he blew me out and stopped answering my emails. I think he might have watched some of my videos. He watched some and he said, yeah, let's do it. He said, I just need to make sure we're putting out a message. I said, oh, well, don't worry about that. We've got the same message. There you go. Nick's got an Aspinall credit card holder costing 60 quid. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, this has lasted me 10 years and it's a nice bag. Got loads of different compartments in it. But this fella up the road, oh, I've got a comment on the screen, haven't I? That's why you can't see it. This fella up the road, he reckons he can make me exactly the same bag. The leather won't be the same quality, but it's negligible for 45 quid. And I said to him, like those shoes, that company make those shoes. People come to Cambodia. They go in there on the first day of their holiday. They get measured up. They show them the photos of the shoes they want. And at the end of their holiday, they collect 2 pairs of handmade shoes, $80. And I said to the bloke who made these, I said, I reckon I could get you about $2,000 a day of trade. I said, do you advertise at all? And he was like, well, only like the bit out the front. I've gone out the front and it says in letters about that big, it says Facebook account, and then it's all in Khmer. Khmer people don't have leather goods made. They just use a plastic bag to take things around. I said to him, listen, man, get about 10,000 flyers printed up in English, leather goods manufactured by hand, fully bespoke, get some nice photos on it, put your mobile number on it, pay some kids to go out and give them to every European person, every white person you see. And I said to him, how long will it take to make that bag? He went 3 days. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, you'll have a queue going right up this street. And he just sort of looked at me because they only come out of a war 20 years ago. He doesn't know about all that sort of thing. He would have a queue. You know, I've said to people since I've been here, I said, you know, when I've got that bag, I said, would you buy a bag like this, brand new, handmade? How much would you pay? And they're like, 300, 400. I go, how about 45? And I said, you can get it. I don't know. I might help him. I might actually do it for him. And then say to him, I want a little bit of I want a little kickback, 5% kickback or something. Not a lot, but I've got enough to do already without advertising his fucking leather shop. But I'll show you that bag when I have it made. Anyway, listen, this is from Odin's Men. If you haven't seen this, I don't know where you've been. This is not a joke. This woman is a proper legal representative, okay? So this is Odin's Men's content, but this isn't a joke. Now, here's the thing in clown world. When I say it isn't a joke, at the same time, how can it not be? How can what I'm about to show you not be funny? And it's a bit like that thing I said about the feminists saying you can't sexually objectify those girls who are sitting there sexually objectifying themselves. This attention-seeking behavior, if you dare to notice it, you're in the wrong. Now, check this out.
Check on that.
Yeah. So we were talking A6, 845? Yes.
All right.
No, we're not. She's basket. What the fuck is going on? Public defender in Seattle. This is amazing, right? I've been to court before, various reasons. Not as.
So you heard Jameson say it. That woman, you can tell because she's got that massive nipple. She's a public defender. Did you hear her voice? Did you hear how? We'll go back to that bit. There's a bit. Well, actually, I'll just play it from here. Check it out.
is a criminal. Long story, but if you did this before this queer rainbow conquering group was in charge during Biden and Obama, you'd be kicked out. I see, get the fuck out of my courtroom. What are you doing? You're weird, inappropriate. This person isn't representing Antifa. You can't make this shit up. And it's allowed. It's tolerated. It's celebrated. Actually, it's stunning and fucking brave, right? And of course.
She's really smart. She sounds like she's got the right idea about things. I really support what she's up to, and I think it's fabulous. How about that?
God, she's accused of, what is it, criminal trespass?
In the first degree, yes.
Is she innocent or guilty?
She's innocent, of course.
She's innocent, okay. Well, she's caught on video being arrested and protesting and allegedly protesting. So I'm trying to get all sides. So
My client has pled not guilty. My name is Stephanie Mueller. I'm in the directory for the Washington State Bar Association. You can look.
My Lord. Now, the Washington State Bar, including Oregon, you know how it goes. My Lord.
I mean, that's exactly my point. You aren't allowed to respond. And she's representing someone who done some activism and caused some criminal damage. And she supports the activism. So therefore she's defending the client. But you ain't allowed to say anything about that. E for elephant, that's amazing. Yeah, it's almost like that. You know what has happened? You have to sit in that court while she tells you what's going on, and you've just got to pretend there's nothing to see here. I'll play a bit more of it.
Now, the Washington State Bar, including Oregon, you know how it goes. If you're an attorney, went to school for it, had to pass the bar to practice law. These states, you don't have to practice or pass the bar anymore because it's racist to take a fucking test. Why do I call this coffee JT? Literally, I got up, took the dogs out. It's cold this morning. So I have this scarf on. Oh, it's 30 degrees.
You know what? Whenever I watch Jameson's Travels, that's him, Odin's Men. He used to have another channel called Jameson's Travel. He used to do military stuff. He's ex-military. But I just feel like people of his generation, he's got to be, 20 years older than me, you know, put his life on the line for his country, worked all his life, and he's just seeing his country go to shit. It's just, it's fucking ridiculous. Let's hear her talking again.
And it's allowed. It's tolerated. Celebrated. Actually, it's stunning and fucking brave, right? Of course.
She's really smart. She sounds like she's got the right idea about things. I really support what she's up to, and I think it's fabulous. How about that?
God, she's accused of, what is it, criminal.
Is the really sort of mind-blowing thing about it, you can't tell the truth anymore. Before I engaged in a conversation with her, I want to say, why are you dressed up like that? This is like a court of law. You know, society needs to maintain certain standards to function correctly. And I mean, call me old-fashioned, but it would appear that you've got a costume on. You know what? Packer, what do you make of it?
I'm just trying to imagine, because in this country you'd go dressed like that, and then they would make you wear the robe and the wig.
Again?
The wigs you have to wear in court in this country.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine that with one of them as well.
Well, as he just said, in certain Democrat states, you don't even need to, qualify now. You can just go and represent someone. And that argument will just be something like, well, I think it's quite good what they've done. And if you don't agree, the left are going to hound your family. The leftist press are going to hound you. So be careful what you say while I've got my ginormous tits and fucking clown mask on. Yeah. I got when you first said it, I got distracted because Otto said it was an 8 until it spoke. No, that was another one, Willow. That was another one. And that was turned out to be a fake as well. Not a fake story, but she said she had a medical condition and that's why she had massive cannons. But it turned out it was like a plastic bodysuit or something. I mean, it really is, we really are in trouble. Willow's quite into this one. Look, he's still kicking on. Hello, Hightower. Been a while, son. Why is it still playing over there in entropy? No idea why. So so that bloody buy me a beer lark. It took 3 hours to put that QR code. Show it. Yeah, it took me 3 hours to put one of them and a button on every one of my Substack stories. You know, you've got to upload the story. You've got to click to edit and all the little sort of page uploads in between. Then I've got to rearrange the writing at the bottom, chop a few bits out, copy and paste that in, put the URL in, put this in, and I've got to do that 33 times. And then when they said, no, you can't have an account, I had to take them all out. That was another 3 hours. And then when today they said you can have an account, I had to put them all back in. Now, I'm not complaining because it's nice to be able to have it. It's nice to be able to have that there. But I just don't understand their system. I just don't get, no, you can't have one. And then I appealed. And all I said on the appeal was, I don't know why I can't have one. And they got back to me and said, well, you can if now. Oh, all right then.
We don't know why you weren't allowed one either.
Yeah, I think so. 42 said, why argue legal points when the jury are also picking sides due to politics? Great point. Great point. I mean, Mark Collette's video, it's so worth watching. It was when Sam Malaya was, before he got sentenced, he was talking about the jury system and how it's for hundreds of years it's had protections. Like you can choose if there's people in the jury that you think are going to be biased against the person you're defending. So, for instance, if you're defending a nationalist and there's someone in the jury with a Karl Marx T-shirt, you can say, I want that person off the jury, and they would take it off. And there was 2 other protections. I can't remember what they are, but it might have been, I don't know, 42 might know, or if anyone knows, there were these protections because the jury service it's not perfect. But with these protections, it kind of helped balance it. But they've all gone. Without asking the British public, you know, has anyone ever heard them say, oh, we're going to make changes to the way we lock people up? No one was asked. They just done it. So if you end up in court and there's a jury there, if one of them doesn't like you from a previous incident, oh yeah, that's it. One of the protections was it had to be all of them. That for a guilty verdict, they all had to agree. And if one person said, no, I don't think he's guilty.
Was one of them past convictions, things like that, past accusation?
Yeah, that was the other one. You couldn't mention not only previous convictions, but things like, and the Sam Malia case is a good example, things like what books he's got in his book cabinet. You know, so I mean, some of the I gave all my books away because there's better technology. I got sick and tired of dragging boxes and boxes like 2,000 books around with me. But you know, I was interested in loads of different things, even things I didn't agree with. But you know, they could get a warrant, come to your house, go through all your books, go through all your computer. Yeah, that'll do. We'll build up a personality of him, and then the prosecution in court says he had this, and well, maybe he did, but that doesn't mean he stabbed that woman in the Dog and Duck on Friday night, you know. But they use it to build up an idea, a negative idea of the character. And also, I think now it's something like, I think if 7 of the 12, don't quote me on this, someone in the chat might know, I think it's something stupid like if 7 of the 12 think you're guilty, you're done. It's just fucked, man. It's just so fucked. That's it. They didn't actually say that sticking stickers was illegal, because even the judge knew that it wasn't illegal to put stickers up. You certainly can't put someone in prison for 2 years for using an adhesive, but they said that it was hateful what he was saying. So it's okay to be white is hateful in modern Britain. It's like, Packer, do you ever think, or all of you, does it ever blow your mind how quickly this all happened?
Yeah. I had a conversation with someone the other day about the whole thing about the statement, it's okay to be white. And the opposing point of view is, if you say that, you're going against it's okay to be black.
Which,
like
you know, that doesn't follow.
Some people would say it, like if someone, the point is, if someone, there's a demonstration, Black Lives Matter, shouting it's okay to be black. If you stand there and shout back it's okay to be white, that's racist. That's inciting. I mean, I wouldn't stand there and shout back it's okay to be white. I'd just ignore it and get on with my life. But if I were to do that, it would be seen as racist and insightful.
But I can remember when the whole racism thing was no one give a shit about it in like the late 80s and the early 90s. You know, there was a lot of it going on.
We were so over it, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were so over it. We'd so done that. It was gone.
And they've just whipped it up.
Yeah.
Just whipped it all back up. I've got something here. I put a meme up earlier that I want to show you just quickly. I thought it was mind blowing. Won't take too long to find it. All right, here we go. Check out this tattoo this bird had. Imagine it's your daughter. Hang on, I'm just closing. I've got too many pictures of male models on my Paint Shop Pro. So have a look at this. Imagine your wife birthed her, you loved her, you nurtured her, she grew up, all that lark, you know, and she comes home one night and you see this.
She's got BLM tattooed on her.
And it actually says Black Lives Matter next to the B, the L, and the N. She's 25 years old.
I would say you're going to regret that, love, and then walk away. If it was my daughter.
Oh, without a doubt, Les. Yeah, it's all countries of European descent. New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, and Europe. Of course, that's the plan. I mean, that's shocking, isn't it? That is absolutely shocking. I would even tell a black person that they're going to regret that. You know.
Yeah.
You've got a communist slogan tattooed across your chest. You're female, so you're likely to be showing that part of your body quite a lot in your life. When I had good for nothing done,
my daughter's in the chat. She said she would never. Thank you, baby.
Oh yeah, your mysterious daughter.
She's not mysterious, Chris. Loads of people know about her. I've spoken about her.
Yeah, I don't know. Hello, Skin. How are you, Governor? Nice to see you. Look at Glass. Look, she probably licks their boots. Yeah, I bet she'll do anything they tell her. She'll do anything they tell them because she's been guilted. She's been through an education system that started when she was 4 years old, went on until she was 25, and it's just been one long guilt session. Well, take one step forward if you've got two parents. What? Hang on, how comes that's my fault? It's ridiculous. E for Elephant says, I'd rather it said bum. Yeah, I did notice that as well. And probably because any tattoo artist worth their... I mean, I can't really comment on bad quality tattoos, but any tattoo artist worth their salt would say to her, no, I'm not doing that to you. I was just saying...
And would you put money on 20 years from now that tattoo on her chest does actually say bum?
I'd put money on that being removed within 5 years. Because once these people leave university and they work out that the real world doesn't correlate with what they've been told, they soon start changing their mind. I've got to show this clip. I've got to show it. I know we've seen it before, but we've got to show it. Hang on. I showed it to her. I had an argument with an ex-girlfriend, very nice girl. She's a writer. She's a good writer as well. But she is at Goldsmiths, and you know her lecturer has got her almost got her a deal with Canongate Publishers. And I said to her, you know, they're going to rewrite your novel. You know, it's going to take 3 years for them to get it published. You know, they're going to probably choose the name for it. You know, they're going to tell you to set up an Instagram account, a Twitter account, a Facebook account, and get fucking busy and do all the work marketing it for the next 3 years. And at the end of all of that, you're getting 7% of the cover price. So just be careful. But because she's been studying creative writing at Goldsmiths, she's also a communist, but she doesn't even realize it. She says, no, I'm not. She's like, but I just think there's a terrible injustice that there's billionaires out there and there's people who can't afford to eat. And I said, yeah, and there always has been discrepancies in people's resources, and there always will be. And the only attempts I've seen to do anything about it has ended up killing 300 million people in the 20th century. And, you know, she's got, I said to her, the thing is, love, I said, you're an idealist. And she went, what's wrong with being an idealist? I said, it kills 300 million people. For a start, I mean, we can start there. And I said to her, listen, I feel the same. You know, I've never felt good. I know I've told this one. There was a party on Tree Estate. The party ended. I was walking home on my Jack Jones. There was this kid. He was a bit of a goon, not like loud and obnoxious, quite shy, but a bit of, hello, do you like comics? And a big group of about 15 kids, we're only all about 15, 14 or something. They started like throwing litter at him, you know, just like an empty Coke can or something, a pack of chips, and calling him names. Then they started putting the boot in, not beating him up, but just giving him a little dig here and there. And it just made me so fucking angry. And I wasn't hard. You know, I was a late developer. I was anemic. I was thin. You know, I made the hard kids laugh so that they looked after me rather than having to do any fighting. But I got so angry And I knew that this bunch of cunts, I just knew none of them would take it up. And I just went, "Oh, you bunch of cunts." I said, "Look at you." I said, "Look at him. Look at him." Because he was like just bawling his eyes out now, like shoulders hunched over. I said, "Look, what, that's your entertainment, is it?" I said, "There's like about 14 of you just throwing things at him like a bunch of cunts." I said, "I'll fight any of you." I said, "I'll fight any of you." I said, "I'll fight all of you." I said, "Let's go." And I just knew they wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And you need to know this. I wasn't hard, and it wasn't like it. I knew they wouldn't. I had faith that they wouldn't. They weren't hard kids, because the hard kids don't do that. Because the hard kids get beaten up by their dad. That's why they end up fighting at school, because they know how to, and that's how they respond to things. Weak kids pick on the weakest kid. And then I went over to the kid. I said, "Come on, I'll walk you home." And he went, "Oh, thanks, that's really kind." I said, "Fuck off, really kind. Why do you let these people treat you like this? Why didn't you do something?" And I was annoyed with him as I was them, but my real frustration was just that sort of injustice, and it stayed with me ever since then. I had it before then. I can remember being very young and seeing, just even in playgroup, like kids ganging up on a weak kid, like the kid who had the club foot or something. And I just used to think, it just used to hurt me. And so I said to this girl, I said, "Look, it's important. It's important. Yeah, people should not be starving while there's a geezer who's got enough money to send rockets into space. But it's not as simple as just taxing these people. It doesn't work. Society is organized." And she was like, "Well, I think you should just tax them." And I said, "Listen here." I said, "How much tax have you paid in your life?" "Fuck all," because I know she's never worked. And she said, "I do voluntary work." I said, "No, you don't. You get welfare and you do voluntary work, so you're getting paid." I said, "I pay for your welfare. I've paid for you to be at Goldsmith's communist indoctrination camp for 5 fucking years so you can ponce around writing your novel. And that money that I've paid you in taxes has meant my novel's taken me 7 fucking years, where it should have only taken 2, because I've had to work to pay those taxes. Where's my free money so I can sit around writing?" And like, she's also shocked. And I said, it's people, it just drives me mad, these people who, I know it's a cliche, but they just want free stuff. And they think that that's going to, you should tax people. I said, "Yeah, but they all fuck off." I said, "It's getting to the limit with my business now that we're going to buy a room in Luxembourg so that we can say our business is registered in Luxembourg, because England's taxing the fuck out of everyone. And if Labour win, all the small to medium enterprise businesses will register out of England, because it's just, there'd be no point doing it. And the SME businesses, that's the lifeblood of a country. They're the people who employ staff. Oh, don't get me at it. Anyway, I sent her this video. I said, this is what you remind me of. We have seen it before, but thank you for another super chat that just come in there. Feel free, people, send them in. Send your money in. It feels good. It will make you feel good, make you feel strong. Good for your sex life. Pour it in. Let's have a look at this. We've seen it before. We should be able to get away with it. I'll play most of it, actually, and it's quite a long clip, but it's a great one. It's 4:15 in the morning. Give me some fucking insomnia vouchers, please. Yeah, I'll check this out. It's fucking great. It's a classic. Here we go. Let me know you can hear it, but never let me know if you fear it. Yeah.
So what really they're asking for here, Kelly Mullen.
Right, before it starts, this girl who's about to appear, she's a student. and she's the spokesperson for the Million Man or Million Person or Million Woman March. They're going to march 1 million people to tell the government to give them other people's money, essentially. Watch this absolute car crash of a communist.
A Million Student March national event organizer. Kelly, good to have you. Keely, I'm sorry. Is it Keely or Kelly?
That's okay. It's Keely.
I apologize. So what do you want here? What do you want?
Can you hear it all right, people?
Yeah, I've seen this.
Was that the question, Packer?
Yeah, no, yeah, we can hear it.
Can you hear it? Yeah, I've seen this. Okay, I'll keep it going. Thank you, Buster Brook. Cheers, Adsack.
Well, so the movement, the Million Student March, is a movement for a more equitable and fair system of education, as opposed to the really corporate model that we have right now. So the 3 core demands of the National Day of Action are free public college, a cancellation of student debt, and a $15 an hour minimum wage for people who work on the campus.
And how's that going to be paid?
Great question. I mean, so I'm not sure if you're talking on like a national level or at particular schools. I can sort of touch on both. At
well,
my
if you wanted
university,
all that
Northeastern
stuff,
University,
someone asked to pick up the tab. Who would that be?
the 1% of people in society that are hoarding the wealth and really sort of causing a catastrophe that students are facing. I mean, we have a relationship right now where 1% of the population owns more wealth than the 99% combined.
Sorry, not sorry to interrupt, but this girl, I mean, this is a few years old, but she organised a march to have free undergraduate education. That's 3 years at university, and have student loans from previous courses wiped off, right? And a $15 minimum wage for anyone who works at the university, yeah? Now, that's quite the claim. That's quite the demands. And okay, fair enough. That's what you want. Now, you'd expect her to have at least a basic understanding of not only economics, but the economics of the situation she's talking about. I don't even need her to have an understanding of economics. Just the numbers involved in her demands. But just watch, it goes fucking mad.
All right, so if the 1%, Kelly, if the 1% just had their taxes raised a few years ago, back to almost 40%, then to pay for the healthcare law, they had them raised another few percentage points. Then they had their deductions limited to raise another couple points, where depending on the state or locality, they're pushing over about 50% in taxes. How much higher do you think? How much more do you think they should pay?
I think enough until we have a system where not 1 in 2 American families are threatened with poverty.
So where do they go? Let's say if you tax them, they're smart folks, these people, these 1% hoarders, right? So if they leave here, then who's going to pay for all this stuff that you want?
If they leave
the country.
I mean, there's always going to be a 1% in the U.S. The U.S. is like the bastion of.
Did you see? She didn't even have a clue. She didn't even have a fucking fundamental understanding that when you raise taxes too much, people leave the fucking country. It has crippled Argentina, fucking Greece, you know, the list goes on. When you start saying, well, hang on, we're running out of money, we need to give people who don't do fuck all money, well, just tax the rich. Yeah, they just go. I know it's a long clip, but look at her face again when he says when they go. She's like, oh, who? And then she realizes she hasn't even considered it. It's so basic.
The country.
I mean, there's always going to be a 1% in the U.S. The U.S. is like the bastion of capitalism and its success, and I think.
Do you think the 1% could pay for all of this?
Absolutely. 85 people in the world hold more wealth than half of the global population.
No, wait a minute.
I mean,
are we talking about 85 billionaires, or are you extending this to the 1%, or remember, we're on a little bit north of $250,000? At what level, Keely, do you start saying you got to pay a hell of a lot more than you're paying now in taxes?
I mean, I think people earning, certainly people earning over $1 million a year should be contributing to the wellness of society.
If it's 50% now, let's say it's around 50% with taxes. We used to have a top rate of 90%. You think we should get back to that?
I mean, I think that eventually we will get back to that. I think eventually.
You're okay with that? Are some of your friends okay with that? Do some of them want to be successful themselves, and they'd be happy when they get to a level, maybe over 200,000, 250,000, they start paying 90% of taxes on that? They'll be happy with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that.
Just how naive is it that she reckons her friends are at university studying whatever they're studying, mostly what they call them, STEM subjects. He said 2,500. I know it's old, but 2,500,000 a year, 90% taxed. Will they be happy? She's like, yeah, absolutely. Are you joking? Are you fucking joking? You earn 250 grand a year and the government taxes you and you end up with 25 grand? Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Keely, come on. You're talking to me here. Your friends are going to be happy getting to a point in their career when they can look outside and say, finally, I'm able to pay 90% in taxes.
Obviously, people in your position, don't want to pay 90% in taxes.
I dare say, unless you're high as a kite, you wouldn't volunteer to pay 90%, right? I mean, unless you really did see a considerable bang for the buck and it was worth it, right? But a lot of the times that you realize it's not worth it, and given some of the track records we've seen with government, it doesn't always work, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But the reality is we have to look at the injustice of the system as it exists right now.
Then do you think maybe if everyone paid a little bit more for this, would you pay a little bit more for this, besides the rich, to pay for that it's worth it? That you think these are good goals?
People already are paying for this.
No, I asked it differently. I asked you, would you, Keely, and your friends, and your mom, and your dad, and your family, would they happily pay more to provide all of these benefits you just outlined?
Of course, and we already are.
No. You just said to pay for some of the things you wanted, the rich should pay significantly more than they're paying right now. Now you're telling me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Everyone's already paying.
Well, they're not. I mean, now you're saying for these added benefits that you want, and they're fine benefits, don't get me wrong. You think your friends, their parents, your family would be happy to pay a little bit more to provide these guarantees and benefits.
I come from an incredibly working class family, and my
Who doesn't believe that she comes from a working class family? I'm not buying that.
Family is already on numerous forms of government assistance and is basically scraping by, in order to get me through college.
Love, you don't know the meaning of scraping by if you're getting through fucking college in America, you dozy dolt.
I live in a world and I see a system around me where there's a population that's doing nothing to contribute to the.
All this madness that she sat around in her crappy social justice meetings, the system around me. She keeps saying it is injustice. I mean, it worked when you weren't being questioned, when you're just patting each other on the back. But the real world's a little bit more complicated than that. And you're just about to find out, and it's going to be beautiful.
Progression of society, education is really the only way that we have innovation, that we have.
I'm sure you sound very smart. You know what's going on. You mentioned what's going on in the world. You're probably aware what's happening in Greece and these other countries that provided all these benefits and then some, many of which you outlined very nicely here for us today. And they're going broke and they're out of money. and they don't know what to do. And their people are rioting on the streets because they can't believe the money's gone and the benefits and the promises are gone.
Right.
What do you think?
I mean, yeah, there's a like a global catastrophe right now of complete like defunding of social services and
because
defunding
they ran out of.
It's at this point she realizes it's all falling to pieces, and I tell you what, he absolutely, it's beautiful.
Money. You know what happened, Keely? They just ran out of money.
Yeah,
right?
I understand, but there is a 1% in Greece. There's a 1% in the United States. There's a 1%. There's a ruling class in absolutely every.
I don't doubt there is, Keely. I don't doubt there is, but obviously they've been trying to tap them to get money from, and they realize either they don't have the money or they hid from the money, or they're gone. They're gone. Yeah. And now these countries are going
those
bust.
people need to be accountable.
All right, fine, but they're smart and they're scurrying all over the globe. So now even if
they are, and that's a problem.
All right, but they've done studies on this, Keely. I don't want to get boring here. But
hang on, I can't let that go by. When he says they're clever people and they're scurrying all over the globe, he's talking about rich people who don't want to get taxed. And when the tax reaches a certain point, people do pay taxes. I pay taxes. I think paying taxes in a system with government, you have to. Okay, I get that. I accept it. I don't think we need government, but that's another argument. But when he says they're clever people, they're scurrying all over the globe, she says, yeah, and I think that's a problem. Yeah, what? You want to hunt them down? Yeah, because that's what they've done in the previous times. You get back here. You get to the border trying to do the off of a couple of bars of gold bullion. They're going to chop your fucking hands off. And it's these kinds of lunatics who do that. When you think about Mao's Red Guard was made up of students. It was Mao's Red Guard that destroyed the four olds, that pulled down all the statues, that changed all the road names, all the stuff we've seen with the social justice movement of the last 10 years. Mao's Red Guard did exactly the same. And they were vicious, violent, torturous, murderous bastards. And trust me, people like her, that's what it does to them, because they tell her she's saving hungry people's lives by killing people who dared to work for a living and create jobs for other people and be part of a society that actually functions.
Even if you were to take the 1% and take all of their money, tax it 100.
Right, hang on. I don't want to interrupt this bit. So this is the kicker. This is where. I don't want to. I didn't want to interrupt his intro here because this is great. Listen to what he says.
I don't want to get boring here, but even if you were to take the 1% and take all of their money, tax it 100%. Do you know that couldn't keep Medicare, just Medicare in this country, going for 3 years? Did you know that?
If we're to a point where the rich is paying 100% on their taxes, then we're on the road to socialism, and we're going to have a completely different type of public infrastructure.
No. What I told you is that even if you took all the money from the rich who you say are getting away with murder, and you took it all away, it wouldn't support one entitlement in this country for 3 years.
I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I just don't. That sounds completely ludicrous to me.
Do you know how much it will cost to mandate a $15 minimum wage across the country, to have everyone's student loan debt paid off, to pay for public college for everyone?
How much?
Do you have a rough idea on the cost of just the educational part, on the student loan part and the public college part?
Absolutely. $1.3 trillion in student debt. That's just a beginning. And then billions and billions of dollars.
Do you know how much you get fully taxing the 1%? 100%.
I don't know. Is it close to the number, the $16 trillion that we spent to bail out the banks?
Hear what I'm saying, because I just want this to be a math reminder. $1 trillion, which would barely keep Medicare going for 3 years. That's one area. Even if we repositioned it to go into this area that you want, we don't have enough to do it. So you're going to have to find other means of getting money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a starting point. I mean, I think that all of these things require really comprehensive programs.
No doubt. But do you fear, Keely? I guess what I'm asking you. You're passionate about this, and I admire that passion and your involvement in this. But I think you have to step back and look at the numbers that could be involved here, because they're going to be huge.
Right.
And a lot of those, a college behind you and institutions behind you, knowing that student debt is taken care of, it's forgiven and done. Do you think any of those guys, any of those administrators, any of those schools aren't going to leap at the opportunity to gouge even more, to raise tuitions even more, to raise room and board even more?
Well, I mean, ideally, if we have a big enough mass movement of people in the streets, we can actually prevent things like that from happening. I mean,
it's just so fucking absurd. He spells it out to her. If you tax the top 1%, 100%, every penny they've got, that won't even cover Medicare for 3 years. If you tax the top 100%, the top 1%, all their money, it won't cover her student debts and free tuition for 3 years. And her answer is, if we have a street movement, we'll put a stop to it. What do you make of that, Packer? You're muted.
Her answer was, it's a start. She wants to go way further than that. Oh, bless her. I thoroughly enjoyed her. I thought, I don't think she's evil. I think she's actually that dumb.
Yeah, but that's your useful idiot. That is the woman who will pull the trigger on
her face at one point near the end, she was like, oh, we're all fucked.
Yeah, she hadn't thought
realised
that. Yeah, I didn't really. Otto lost brain cells. I mean, if you're having, you know, at least when I was a commie, you know, we read Das Kapital. That's what we done when we got together. We worked out Marx's theory, labour theory of value, so that we knew what we were talking about when we debated people. I'm not saying it was right, but we knew the stuff. We could hold an argument. But to say, well, if we have the 1 million student march, at least it's a start. Yeah, but it ain't. America is starving in 3 years. And it ain't going to be 3 years, because as soon as you're taxing the top 1% at 100%, they're leaving the country tomorrow. By morning, they'll be gone. And then it's going to be the next top 1%, and then they're going to be gone. And by the end of it, the top 1% are going to be her and her mates. And they'll be like, oh, hang on a minute. I only earn 30 quid a week. Well, it was your idea. Cough up. Fucking idiot. Ridiculous. Let me see if I can find this other thing I've just remembered. It's a bit of a going back in time. Hang on.
If you had to put a bet on which one of those two people had done the maths just by looking at them, you wouldn't have lost money, would you?
Right, I think this is it. Hang on. Right. Now, some of you might remember this. This is going back nearly 10 years. But I think after seeing a student, we need to see another student. If we look historically at some of the great speakers of our time, you know, the great orators, you know, people who gave speeches that changed the course of history. Amazing, you know, people who put on a performance, knew their stuff. You know, I'm thinking of a particular one I can't really say, but do you remember this from 10 years ago? Student debating societies had competitions. There'd be a question put to them. And because this was the start of the social justice movement, it was usually to do with race, white privilege, masculinity being toxic. You know, all the old things that we used to talk about that the lotus eaters and trigonometry are now doing and thinking, oh, we're right on the sharp end of the wedge here. And there was some footage released of the winning orators. Now, I've just grabbed this one off of YouTube because I don't want to be looking for it forever. But there's one out there where there's one group of there's two teams debating against each other. And one group are white lads and one group of these three black women. And the white blokes start talking and it sort of says, we need to look back at the history of slavery. We need to look at the numbers. And he starts presenting an argument, and he talks about how the American Civil War was putting an end to the importation of slaves, and who originally funded that whole shebang. But the other people didn't want to play ball. And does anyone in the chat remember what I'm talking about? Hang on, people are saying hello, goodbye to Alan. I didn't even know you were here, mate. Hello, Alan. Yeah. Goodbye, Alan. Oh, what a damn shame. Alan, you can't run. It's a joke. It's not a very nice joke. Look after yourself, Alan. Right. So, like I say, I don't know if this is one of the ones I think it is, but I'm going to guess it is. Does anyone remember what I'm talking about? Does anyone? I know that. Thanks for the super chats that are coming. I will deal with them. It's 4:30 in the morning now. But does anyone know? I'm just waiting for some people in the chat. Do you know what I'm talking about, Packer?
No, not a clue.
You'll love this then. Right, well, I'm about to show you the winning orators from the debating society. And this was like a national thing. So the winners of each university went to the national debating thing. And these are the winners. You ready for this? Right, hang on. I haven't watched this video, but I've got an idea that it is one of the ones that I remember. Here we go. Let's hope I'm right. Let's hope I'm not really.
Impact turn to the that it is the case turn to the affirmative, because we are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive, that it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive.
We got the topic in about July, and we started doing our research then.
When the nigga sees these pains and suffering, that he can only envision himself, that he does not see another nigga that he can feel sympathy for or embrace, but rather that otherness gets obliterated.
We've been supplementing our research throughout the season.
Man, focusing on object, disfigured, lynching, trauma, enough. The insight, the trauma representation that turns into the black child devouring and identifying with the stories and images the white culture brought up to think and act subjectively like a white man, the black man.
So where do you go from there? You know, when you start preparing for a national competition, once you know the topic, what's next?
Well, you do a lot of research.
Says that the way that the status quo works is through whiteness allowing, forcing other bodies to tell narrations of whiteness and the violences that whiteness does. We say that is the link that we will go for.
In order to prepare for it, because there are several different tournaments, and so being able to transition through each tournament,
capture and separate from exposure to cultural representation of the white world, the cultural the white world sense of the child eye zone, and
able to respond to opponents' arguments
on sexual trauma as a way of grounding its racist cultural fantasy, the cultural trafficking images of the black man's photogenic objects.
So just a lot of preparation.
Disfigured, lynching, trauma, enough. The inside the trauma representation that turns into the black child devouring and identifying with the stories and images of white culture.
Reading of articles and books, and
they only recreate what it means to be an authentic nigga, because we are not allowed to read certain things or speak in a certain way, because we are seen as not truly speaking to niggas, but it is a question of who even wrote this shit.
All that good stuff.
That was the 10 years ago University National Debating Champions. Look at Pack Alert. He can't believe it. Madness, isn't it?
That was difficult.
There's worse ones than that. There's worse ones. I might have to see if I can find another one.
No, don't. You don't need to, Chris.
There's another one that will that's even. It's interesting when you get to hear the other people, because when they finish, they just hang on. No, can't be bothered. Well, there you go, people. I've done 2.5 hours. It's 20 to 5 in the morning. You can thank Arsenal for the stream. It's always lovely to see you. There's some super chats that I've missed. I'm going to go through. I'm just going to refresh Entropy just in case. I'll even have a look at the Buy Me a Coffee. Although I don't really expect that to be a revenue stream for YouTube. I've got one, but that was from the other day. Where are we? Nothing on Entropy. Who have I missed here? I missed Alan. Alan dropped me a 10-bit. What a terrible shame, Alan. Sorry, mate, if you've gone. That's a shame. As soon as I saw your name, I thought you said I've got to go. I didn't see you in here because I was too busy gabbing, but that is what I have to do here. Thank you, Alan. Very kind. John Fuse says, have you read Rules for Radicals years ago? It's a great book. Tells you how to turn your group into a radical revolutionary group. And radical revolutionary groups work. You know, they took over. Communism has been tried in 2/3 of the planet, of the inhabited planet. 2/3. You know, people think, oh, you know, it's Russia, bit of China. No, 2/3 of the inhabited planet have tried communism. That's why there's a death toll of nearly 300 million. And yet there's another Holocaust, a few mil, but apparently that's Anyway, let's not get into that because it's illegal or something. John Fuse says, yes, Chris, been loving the Substacks, mate. Nice one. I'm writing one about a 14-year-old kid who wakes up and thinks he's God. So that's the next one. And I'm going to do a series of letters to my dead dad, because that one, in the first 12 hours, that got more reads and comments than any other short I've done. So, you know, if people have shown me they like it, I'm not going to do the next 10 shorts on Substack but every sort of 2 or 3 shorts, I'll do another letter to my dead father. That's very kind of you, John. Much appreciated. Thank you, Anglo, for that. The old one day, Anglo, we'll meet up and I'll see if I can see if you can taste 2 beefs and what one was cut by AI. Thank you, John. And another one. Oh, yeah, no, I've just done that. Rules for Radicals. There's Alan's one that I missed. JP's dropped a lady. I should be in bed. Oh, really? It's 4:45. I should be in bed, but I'm scoffing sweets and watching Danger. Tree Estate is a dump. How do you know Tree Estate? That's where those... Oh, well, that's why. Yeah, for people who didn't hear that, that's where those kids who were picking on that divvy kid were from. JP said, Tree Estate is a dump. I should... worst years of my life living there. Thanks for the treat, bruv. Thank you for that, John. Oh, but John, isn't the weird thing, and you must know this, that the people, Dartford is 5 estates essentially. Temple Hill, Tree Estate. John, I got it wrong. The kids, the kids that done that was Fleet Estate. Oh, hang on. Fleet Estate, Tree Estate. Tree Estate's the one that's all shoe shape, isn't it? It's down the other side of Dartford. I've got it all confused. But there's Temple Hill, Fleet Estate, Tree Estate, and Newtown, which is the oldest bit, which is where I come from. But Fleet Estate, John, they think they're the rich. It's hilarious. They think they're the ones with the money, and they go and play golf and things. But they're all fucking loaned up to their eyeballs and proper stressed because they've got a front garden that hasn't got a goat and a shopping trolley in it, so they think they're rich. But Tree Estate, I'm just trying to think. I can't remember any. I used to go to Army Cadets on Tree Estate. I'm trying to think. There's that main one road. There's that little row of shops, isn't there, by the motorway there? Oh yeah, and you've got that big crossing at the bottom of Prince's Road. That's Tree Estate, isn't it? Why the fuck did you live there? That's all social housing, isn't it? Good Lord. Thank you, John. Thank you, Skin and Tonic. Much appreciated, mate. Hope you're doing well. Skin, I've got Jeffrey Sharla coming on Tuesday, and I know you've always talked about your schizophrenia in the family. And look, I just want to say this before that stream, by the way, because schizophrenia is the one that people always bring up, because what we call schizophrenia is very brutal and it has caused people to kill themselves. Well, hang on, I've got to be a little bit careful how I word this, but when I say that mental illness doesn't exist, I'm not saying that people don't suffer, and I'm not saying that people who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia don't hear voices, don't think they've got robotic parts inside them, don't kill themselves. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the diagnosis is a lie. I'm saying that it's behavioural, not pathological. So if anyone interested, if you don't know, this Tuesday, 5 p.m, so 1700 hours UK time, Tuesday, Jeff Sharla's coming on here for the third time, and you can come on and talk to him and put questions to him about mental illness and all that. Barclay's agreed that he's going to come on and talk to him because Barclay thinks he's got ADHD and autism, although he wasn't diagnosed with either. So that was weird, wasn't it? But he's going to have a chat with him, and that takes some balls. And Barclay has got some balls. I'll give him that, and I respect him for it. So he's going to have a chat. If anyone wants to come on and talk to Jeffrey Sharla, email me first so that I know. I mean, probably no one will do that, and it'll be a little bit more of a free-for-all. And you can ask questions from the chat. But, I had a girlfriend who had what is known as OCD, but she didn't wash her hands. She'd have feelings of wanting to hurt people she loved. And because of that, she'd then have to go through these incredibly detailed rituals in her mind, not washing hands, shutting doors, like solving equations. And they were like, she described them as fractal, so she'd have to solve these 5 equations, and then each one of them had 5 more. And only when she'd done that, and that could take a day, only when she'd done that could she lose the guilt of the feelings she had about wanting to stab someone she loved. Now, that's not a mental illness to me. It's behavioural, because her upbringing was fucking shocking. One of the worst I've heard. I won't go into it. It's not my place to. But because the people who were meant to be caring for her were abusing her, she had very natural thoughts of revenge and hate. But when they're the only people who are looking after you, and without them you don't sleep or eat or, she built a system, a behavioural system, where she could counterbalance the hateful thoughts. And that, that for me, that's clear as day. But the DSM-5 will tell you that this is a mental illness that can be treated with this, and this. And I'm also not saying that if you've got a behavioural issue, that SSRIs don't help. Yeah, they can help. Yes, they can. But I think to better help people, it would be better if we were to diagnose them correctly in the first instance. And my example is addiction. That's how I learned about Jeffrey Sharlow. He wrote a book about 15 years ago called Addiction is a Choice. He came on and we talked about it. And I'd been to about 15 rehabs by this point, and they had all told me I had a disease of addiction. And you all know the story. I've told you it countless times. There was this kid called Jamie, the same kid in the car chase. And he said that he sucker punched his grandmother so that he could steal her wedding and engagement ring to buy heroin. And the therapist in that rehab said, I carry a lot of shame and a lot of guilt because of things like that. And the therapist said to him, that's the disease of addiction, Jamie. And I said, like fuck is it? I said, you're a cunt. And until you start taking responsibility for your actions, you're just going to keep doing them. And you, who are meant to be a therapist, and you're not even as qualified as I am, and I'm a fucking patient here. I said, you keep giving him the off, you keep letting him off and telling, oh, that's not you. No, you've got a mental illness. You've got the disease of addiction that has got no biological markers. It'll just go out and do it again. And it was only when I realized that it was a choice and I couldn't, that I managed to get all that brainwashing that addiction is a disease and think, well, hang on a minute, I haven't got a disease. I'm choosing to take drugs because they make me feel better. So why don't I feel good? Why have I ended up in an empty house, eating nothing, with holes all over my body, hardly any veins left, crack dealers chasing me around the country? What is so bad about the way I feel about myself that has caused me to end up here? And then I started rebuilding my life because I wasn't like, oh, it's because I've got the disease of addiction. No, I was making decisions because I didn't have the bottle to confront things that needed confronting or self-medicating. Ludwig drops an Ayrton Senna. Been lurking. Bit of grift for a cheeky little stream. It has been cheeky. I promised myself an hour. It's now been 2.5, but it is Saturday night, Sunday morning. Cheers, Chris and Packer. We'll be checking Substack as soon as possible. Oh, have you not read the new one, Ludwig? There was such a swarm of comments. Ludwig writes a great comment. Well, Ludwig, I reckon you should be a writer. I reckon you've got I reckon you could be a great writer just by your reviews. You read things, you do the work, and you find the things that when you notice that bit about that playing card falling off the door when the junk mail came through the envelope, I was like, shit, why can't everyone read like that? Now, I don't want everyone to read the same, but I was really made up about that. So there's a little bit more pressure on you, Ludwig, for your next review. Cheers for the Ayrton. Eleanor Walmsley drops an Ayrton. Only because you're such a good laugh and interesting, I squeezed my piggy bank. Eleanor, if ever you need your piggy bank squeezing, just drop us a line. As long as it's pink, I'll... Thank you, Eleanor. Glass has dropped a Lady Godiva. Show some hotter men on the screen on the next stream and I'll give you a tenner. Here, Glass. I have to do something. You're letting the side down. That's it. Fucking hell, look at that. That is fucking double man dom. Yeah, good. I think we're doing all right, mate. I think we're doing all right. And relax. God, that hurts. All right, I will do Glass. Glass, ping me an email and tell me who, and I will do that. I'll do anything for a tenner. Tell me. I'll do a whole stream of blokes you fancy. I like to think I do anyway. Okay, thank you for that. Crow dropped 2. Thank you, Crow Magnon. And John Citizen has been a member for 31 months. What an absolute treat. Thank you, John. I imagine it's probably more than that, but when they close my channel down, these things happen. What am I doing now? Thank you, John. Thank you, Crow. Thank you, Miss Glass. Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you, Ludwig. Thank you, Skin and Tonic. And thank you, JP. I think I've done. Thank you, Alan. I think I've done all the rest before. Okay. I'll do a bit of Mumford, but I will do a different one than usual. How about that? Packer, how's it been for you today? Today's stream?
It's been varied. I like a varied stream.
We had about 100 people in from start to finish. That ain't bad on a Saturday, is it?
I think you're going to have to compile a proper lineup for the women, though, because the choices they got, it weren't fair to them.
Well, that was kind of intentional because I like to treat them as sexual subordinates. It makes me aroused.
Mrs. Packer says thanks.
There you go. I can't believe I've just typed in Mumford's name, searching for it, and I've used a nickname that you lot don't know I call him, as if that would be in there. Yeah, ridiculous. I got about. He's coming out here tomorrow. Yeah, he hasn't told me where he's going, what time, or anything. I just got a message. I've got a mate. Trevor Locke is out here now. He's doing a gig at the moment. Well, not now. He'll be in bed. But tomorrow, my missus is making me and him dinner. Then we're going to watch the Liverpool game, and then he's fucking off to do a gig, I think, in Vietnam. And I think Mumford's over here buying pharmaceuticals, shall we say? Because in Thailand, you can't get anything. He's always on the fucking blower. Just buy me some blah, blah, blah and stick it in the post. Oh, all right. When the grabbers turn up at your door, because it's illegal in Thailand. But if he is going to do that, which I think he is, I said to him, because when I go to Thailand, he always says, bring something over for us. And I'm like, no, it's too risky. He went, fuck off. You've been to Thailand countless times with a mouthful of heroin. I went, yeah, not having to is lovely. I don't want to risk it for a couple of morphine sulfate tablets so that when I come over to see you for 2 days, you're asleep. But I did do it for him, and I got there and he had it and he went. And 2 days later, I went home. Right, Packer, I'll let you go first. Packer, so many people in emails have said to me that it's just gold dust. What a find, the co-host. But never pressure. Let's do that. Never pressure.
Oh, shit, every time.
I test it down here. I sort of do a little, you can see the tip of my fingers there. So while I'm talking, I think, right, I've got that. So then I can just go, here we go. And then you're like.
I've got that. Oh, I haven't.
Yeah, but never any pressure. Sometimes you might just want to sit and watch a stream. And if you say that, no problem. But it's been great.
That's unlikely. It's more likely I'll be in the pub.
That's it. That's why Wednesday nights I probably will never stream again. Anything you want to leave the glorious House of Scrubs with?
No, just thanks for having us. It's always great reading the chat, isn't it?
The privilege is all mine and ours, believe me. P in the chat for Packer, people. Take care, mate. Enjoy the weekend. See you later, Mrs. Packer. You've been as fun as ever. Ta-da, mate. He's lovely, isn't he? What a wonderful bloke. I want to thank everyone who donated, of course. I am a little bit on my arse. So, I mean, that's not why I'm streaming at 5 o'clock in the morning at all. But thanks for everyone doing that. I want to thank everyone who asked interesting questions and joined in. And thanks to Boy Cray and Ragnar Ironspear, if that is his real name, for looking after the place. And most of all of you lot for coming in. It's a privilege to have a stream. I love this community. This community is nearly 8 years old, by the way. And I think that's quite something because a lot of people give me a lot of mouth and a lot of shit for a lot of time. And where are they now? And we're still there. And we ain't hanging on by the tips of our fingers. We're sitting tight in our, what are they called? Those nice big red leather. What are they called, Packer? Oh, that's it, Chesterfields. We're all reclining in our nice Chesterfields. So enjoy the rest of your weekends. Bless you all. Here's a bit of Bally G. Hang on a minute. I hate this new setup. It's so fucking small. Or is it just my cursor is so fucking big? I've given up not swearing so much. It just didn't work. So it was causing me to swear more. Ta-ta! Oh, I haven't even gone. I will be putting your messages on the screen. This is Bally G with the title track from Deep Water. Hang on. Special K says Shays Lounge. And that would have been better than Chesterfield. Damn. There's always time to learn. I'll start the tune again because that guitar intro is strong. Ta-ta.
Everyone knows I'm gonna be the first man down. All my friends are sick of having me around. Nobody wants to give a buddy one last break. Can't go on, I've taken all a man can take. Life is a curse, it only gets worse, and the world don't watch you drown. Maybe my mind will fail to ever find the point. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna make my grave underneath the wave. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna lay my head on the riverbed. Looking back, I rejected every place I stayed. A woman says I'm lying in the bed I've made. She says warriors don't give up before the war begins. So I get high to justify the mess I'm in. People get mad and people get sad, but at least they have a cause. Struggle to feel emotion I can really trust. I'm going deep, deep down underwater.
See you later, MSM.
Gonna make my grave.
See you later, CNN.
Underneath the wave.
See you later, CNBC.
I'm going deep, deep down underwater.
See you later, MSM.
Gonna lay my head.
And you, CNN.
On the riverbed.
Bye, BuzzFeed. Hello, Joe.
I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna make my grave underneath the wave. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna lay my head on the riverbed. I'm going deep, deep down underwater. Gonna make my grave underneath the wave.
Just me on my Jack Jones now. Just a bit of definition to keep me going there. What you don't realise is I just said all that, but the mic was muted. Oh, imagine what it's like though. Like this is just me in my house. Look, no one's in here. I'll turn the big light off though when I finish streaming, or the one that's over there. I'm just a bloke in a room who's been talking for nearly 3 hours. Look after yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget to tell the people you love that you love them, because we do tend to forget and they need to know. Don't tell me Blogs has just turned up. Look at that. Perfect timing to end the stream. Oh, Blogs has told me there's an entropy. He's dropped 2 in. Did she show her working? I want to see the calculations. I take it you're watching the Million Student March. You got a niggle with her, Bill. Thanks for the entropy, Bill. Much appreciated, Kooky. Means a lot to me that you use entropy, and it's a shame you missed the stream live, but maybe next time. Look after yourselves, people. Take care. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? Hoit!